Please welcome SANCHEZ for the next session. He will be chair. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Stefan. Good morning, everyone. I'm SANCHEZ from the University of Geneva. I will chair this session. The title of this paper session is Politics, Economy, and Environment. And we will have four presenters. We will talk about the relationship between human beings and their environments. The first presenter is Thomas Robert, maybe Thomas Robert. So Thomas, you are welcome on stage, please. Somebody will display your presentation and you have 50 minutes for your presentation. So the floor is yours.
So, how to kill your island behind this little silly name project is in fact an academical project. Myself, Jade and David are two other classmates who couldn't be here today, but we together worked on this project for our master degree, so not for the master thesis, but it's for lessons to understand a bit better the game technologies. We made this prototype to learn 3D and Unity and game technologies. So the first idea that we had, the first question that we asked ourselves is about environmental awareness. We wanted to do a project about environmental awareness. And we had the feeling that the communication, when it's about environmental awareness, is often throwing big numbers, like 422 particles per million is the amount of CO2 in dry air, plus 50% is the rate of CO2 due by human activity since industrial time, and then there is a big graphic, a scary graphics, and here was the problem for us. We already know this kind of numbers. We see them a bit everywhere with some differential, maybe the CO2, maybe it's the temperature of the Earth. But we see this number and we see them so many times that we unfortunately kind of get used to it, and we don't really know and understand the impact anymore of this number. We don't really feel the magnitude of this number, and they are scary, they are still important and relevant, but we don't really know why anymore. So our approach was to take an opposite direction, some kind of a satirical tone, to maybe try to raise some idea and awareness, but in a different approach. As I said, the impact and magnitude was important for us. We wanted, through our serious game, to feel the impact and how fast things can go and how out of hand it can go. For that, we wanted a board game look and feel. We wanted like a top view camera to have this kind of feeling of control over our world. And we wanted, for an academical reason, to do our own assets, so to create with Blender in 3 dimension our own assets, and not rely on third parties' assets. So, what is about this opposite direction, this satirical tone? We wanted to put you in the shoes of someone who will kill an island. So, here is Charles-Edouard. Charles-Edouard is an eccentric multi-billionaire. He has always crazy idea and project, like, for example, sending his car into space. And the new big project of Charles-Edouard is this island. He just loves this island, and he has a unique project that he wants to achieve in just 4 steps. So, be careful with these 4 steps, it's very complicated. Step 1, arrive in the island. Step 2, create a giant pipeline that relies the volcano to the ocean. Step 3, empty the volcano into the the ocean. And step 4, create a giant resource hostel in the volcano. This crazy idea that he has, it's like an excuse for us to have this satirical tone, and how impactful will be to create this crazy project. Here is some view and some videos of the prototype. So we have typically the start. I don't know if the video is working. So we have the generated island with a volcano in the middle, like kind of volcano. It's more looking like a bowl of soup, which was the big idea. And we generate this island with this some kind of relief. And you have the action to the left, where you can build the pipeline, but as you can see, it costs a lot of money. On the right, you have some time to do that, to create your hostel. And you have the CO2, the amount of CO2 generated by your action on the right. Slide. Here you have an idea of how it works. So you have to destroy the forest and the earth to have minerals, to have some rocks to create your factories, to generate money. Then here you have an example of some other buildings that you can create with the amount of money. You can see on the right that the CO2 is slightly going up. You have the time limit that continues to go, and you have the money on the left that increase with the time. And you create your buildings like that to, again, make more and more money. That here you have an example of the pipeline with just some tiles that you create, and you have to rely to do the connection between the volcano and the ocean to have this crazy project to empty the volcano and to end your game. As you see, you have the level of CO2 at the far right that is going up and up with the amount of time. And at the end, congratulations, you have destroyed your island, and you have a little resume, you have a little feedback on what you do, how many trees you destroyed, how many CO2 you generated, etc., etc. So for the conclusion, it was the first step in the serious game development, our first approach and first idea for a serious game. We wanted to address this serious subject, but in a more light way, and have this feeling of impact and magnitude. As you construct more and more building, you see the amount of CO2 that exponentially grows and getting out of hand. For the next steps for our project is to have a better gameplay, better graphism. Again, it's just a prototype. And we want to have data more impactful. Because for now, for the just amount of time that we had to create this project, we just got some random data. But we wanted, if we want to have the next step, we want to take more real data closer to real life comparison and to real world data. So that's it for this presentation. Thank you for your attention. If you have questions, please ask.
Thank you, Thomas. Do you have any question for Thomas about this game? Yes, please. You can keep the microphone.
So Thomas, you said that it was a project for your master degree, right?
Yeah.
Which master?
The master is in HESSO, is for computer science, so it was very axed to a technical point of view, but we wanted to address still a project about environmental, since it's an interesting topic to address. Thank you.
We have time for another question. Yes, please.
This looks great. I think it's a fantastic start, and it's a really nice, attractive, environment. I'm wondering if you heard of a group called Strange Loop Games.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so if you want, we can talk after. They've created a kind of a simulation environment. It's not as pretty as yours, but it's but the idea is that it's very configurable, so that if you wanted to, if you have a very clear sense of your narrative and how you would kind of engineer these experiences for people, as opposed to creating it all yourself, maybe you could use their environment. It's kind of like a very nice Minecraft that keeps track of like all the different ways of measuring impacts on the world, environment, financial, and allows you to model all the systems and how they interrelate, so you're not just looking at environment in a vacuum.
Okay, nice. I will talk about this with pleasure after that. Thank you.
Yeah, nice job, thanks.
The last question. I have one, Thomas, please. You said it was for your master degree. Did you test the game or with some people just to see if they understand the satirical view of the game? Because it's not new that we have satirical game, but we know sometimes that they don't understand that it's a second degree message.
Yeah, we show the game to some of our friends and around. So maybe it's a little biased, yes, because it's friends of ours, so they have the same age as us. So maybe they are more close to gaming and to this kind of mechanical. So in a purely gameplay way, it's a bit biased. And for the message, or the core of the concept, there was interest by it. I think it will not talk, this subject will not be interesting for everyone, because I think some people will think that the environment awareness needs to be serious and to stay serious and not have this satirical tone, which I can understand, but we still wanted to have this different approach.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for the presentation. And we have a certificate of attendance. The next presenter is Francine Perriot. No, she's not here. So I guess it's online? It's online. Okay. So no question. Video. Just a video.
shape itself. So, like I said, it's bird shaped. The idea of bird came naturally with a musical device, but it was also a great choice for the need for it to be like a cared object, an object you have sympathy for, and also an object you can carry with you, and to add a great dimension and fun dimension to it, since it's stealing signals from other devices, you can imagine that it could be carried as a harness on the shoulder of a parent. So yeah, it's also another dimension that was included in the design of the bird shape. And it also needed to be quite small, so like the head of the bird and just the size of a small bird was great. So it's approximately 8 centimeters high and 10 centimeters length. So yeah, it's just a perfect shape for something you can carry easily with you, but has still some stability and you can carry in the palm of your hand. About the technology that I put in this, the circuit is actually quite simple because I had to make a drastic choice about like the number of components and the size of the components. So Bart just needs an infrared detector and as of course piezo buzzer for the sound musical output. And these two components are controlled by an Arduino board, but that's actually all that needs, plus their alimentation. And that choice was made because it utility object. So yeah, that's quite all for the technical part. About the user journey, so I told you that since you want to discover different melody and the bard is getting tired of always being commanded by the same modes that you have at your house, you need to carry it with you. So you need to carry it to new houses, new household, and maybe discover new remote controls, maybe buy old remote control to test it and discover how it works. So there's also an aspect of looking for what type of device you can use on it, looking for the limits of, on one hand, the music, and on the other hand, what can you test on it, and when are you going to have a response, because you're never sure about this. And it's always about understanding the mood, let's say, of the object. So it's really a dimension that I wanted to give in the project to be really a nod to empathize with the object we have and care about them. So yeah, that's quite how you interact with it, and hopefully you will have fun to test all these different possibilities and discover the limits of the object. So to conclude briefly, I would like to say that BART was of course a prototype, and I know that it still needs some improvement at some point. For example, I need, I think, some expertise to know how to make a great strap to attach to the shoulder, so it would be really complete. But yeah, that was really a prototype around this idea of having a new perspective on how we choose technology and what we expect from technology. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it and have a great time with the other presentation. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Yes, do not hesitate to contact us if you have any questions. There is an email address in proceeding of the conference. The next presenter will be Jérôme Castella. It's also a video. No, Jérôme is here. Oh, okay. Welcome, Jérôme. And the title of your presentation is Power Play.
Yes.
And you will have 2 minutes more if you need.
I'm here to talk about a serious game that I designed with my associate, which is called Power Play. Our idea was to start from those kind of discussions that were displayed with the animation. I'm pretty sure that everyone in this room has already been inside one of those discussions where we talk about the energy transition, and someone in the discussion is defending a very simplistic approach, saying, I don't need to do stuff, this is another person's problem, and the solution is simply to add some solar panels, some wind turbines. All we need is nuclear, all we need is to go back to gas, we cannot get rid of fossil fuels, etc., etc. And those kind of simplistic views are basically stopping us from acting. This is a way to put the responsibility on someone else and another social group. In our small company that is specialized in energy consulting, we like to think about climate change in this way, thinking about it as a risk, and the energy transition that comes with it as a risk as well. If we follow the pathway we are on with CO2 emissions, we are going to the orange, red areas where the physical risk on our energy system will become more and more important. I'm not sure you are aware of it, but last week Switzerland published its electricity statistics, and it showed that last year the hydropower production was very low due to the drought we faced during summer and winter. Those are for the physical risk. That's if we go off-road. If we take a U-turn to do the energy transition, we will be at risk as well, because we will need to electrify a lot of usage, and we need to find this electricity somewhere. So that's, in both cases, either if we go U-turn or if we go off-road, we need to take a seatbelt. And by putting the responsibility on another social group, whether it is the states, the companies, the consumers, we are staying in inaction's position. What we wanted to do with our game is to motivate people to go into actions. So we designed a card game that is based on the actual scientific data about Switzerland and how we want to do our energy transition in Switzerland. We based our approach on collective intelligence, knowing that when you put people together around a problematic, they will tend to find some common solution and listen to each other. To basically temper their simplistic approach that they tend to have when they are alone on the internet or behind a screen. And as I said, our core principle is to base our approach on scientific data. So everything that I will discuss now is everything in our game is science-based and sourced. That's how our game looks. So it's a board game with cards, and we use this game to animate workshop. During the process, we thought about making it a commercial board game, but we noticed that during the test phase, putting people that don't know each other together to discuss this complex topic was really a plus in our approach, because they begin the game with their view of the problematic, saying that I have the solution, all we need is more wind turbines. People in front of them will say, no, we need to renovate the buildings. They will fight at the beginning, but then they will tend to go to each other's solution and find common ground. The game is designed in the following way. Your topic, if you play our game, your goal will be to deliver enough electricity to the people during 6 turns, and each turn represents a phase of 5 years of time. So we start in 2020, and we go all the way to the end of the transition in 2050. You will need to manage the population satisfaction, because if you don't deliver enough energy, people get angry, and you will have a CO2 constraint, because the energy strategy in Switzerland is based on this constraint. We need to reach net zero in 2050. The game is designed as a tower defense game. I think you all know tower defense, where you have a city to protect, and you have monsters coming at it, and you need to build defense materials to protect the city from the monster. We just replace the monster by more electric car demand, more heat pumps, people getting angry because they don't have what they want, and climate hazards that will affect the electrical grid. And to defend your city, Switzerland, from those threats, you will have to build a new energy system. That would be, if we stuck to that would have been too easy, so we put other constraints in the game. You will have to manage money, and you will have to manage seasonality of electricity production. So you will have objectives for winter and summer. A turn will be played like this. You pick a card that gives you a target for summer, for winter. Then in the second phase, altogether you have to decide in which project you want to invest. And you will have a lot of options to build your energy system. So you have massive centralized production. We are not afraid to talk about nuclear, so we are not afraid if our people get angry and yell at each other at some point. We manage nuclear power in our game. It's based on the current Switzerland situation, so if you want to build a new nuclear power plant, you have to unlock the legal situation as well and do some political decision before. And of course, decentralized renewable energies will be the pillars of the strategies, so we can play those as well. And we manage as well some storage solutions. Each of those cards has a CapEx, capital expenses cost, an operational cost, and a lifetime duration. So you will have to plan your strategy throughout the time until 2050. At each time, you will decide if your situation is tensed or not. You can decide if you impact some energy restrictions to the population. If you do, you will lose some satisfaction points, but it will be better to anticipate a shortage with these cards than to face natural shortages. And then, of course, because life is difficult, real life is difficult, you will face some hazards. They can be political or economical hazards, like on these cards people are opposing to do wind turbines, so you cannot build them, or they may be climate hazards. You will have heat wave, drought, etc., etc. And at the end, if you succeed your turns, you will or not impact your life points, which are CO2 budget and global satisfaction of the population. And we designed our game to be included in a workshop because our intent is to move people from the starting position to an active position toward the energy transition. In a workshop, we will play the game. Then, at the end of the game, you will have a score. Either you succeeded or not. You can lose our game. And it's a pretty difficult game to play. And after that, we have a calculator that will go back at the game and we will question the demand, because the game is supply-based. you are in charge to supply energy to people, and at the end of the game, we will question what we could have done differently if people were aware of the situation and accepted to lower their demand. When the discussion about the demand is done, we go back at the beginning of the game, at the board game, and redesign our energy system, including the impact of the lower demand. And where we are today with this project, we did a first public phase, so 400 people already played this game. We have really good critics. And now we are designing a new version of the game with some adjustments with the calculator, on the calculator that will allow us to scale up the project and animate those workshops for large attendance.
Thank you, Jerome, for your very brief presentation. Nice game. Do we have a question about board play? Yes. Could you wait for a microphone, please? Because I think we have we will register for the talk.
How do you handle players overpowering other players in discussions?
You mean if they don't agree with each other?
Yeah, so when I play games or when I design games, I see that sometimes some people don't speak as loudly as others, and they're not involved in the discussions anymore.
Yeah, can be a tricky thing to do, especially if we have large attendance. The most I did was with a class of 24 students at the same time. So in those kind of environments, it's difficult to ensure that everyone speaks. I think what we need to do what we need to do in the design of the next phase, where we will have a more powerful calculator that will handle the rules enforcement, is to have turn attributions, meaning that you will be it will still be a group effort, but we will decide that this person is the Switzerland president for the first term, and then it switches. So we will play in teams of 6 people, and at each turn someone will be in charge for the last word about the decisions.
Okay, that answered my second question as well about introducing roles, or why you didn't introduce roles in the 2 games. So. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. We have another question from the audience. Okay, I'm happy to ask my question. I found really interesting that you managed to organize workshops with the game. So I have 2 questions. Do you expect people that they learn from the game or from the discussion that they have after the game? And my second question is, what does it mean when you lose in the game? You said you can lose, and then that does change the interaction between people during the workshop when they lose or when they win. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, during the first phase of the project, all we had was just the game and a small discussion schedule for the end of the game. And I was always afraid that all the group lose, because then the atmosphere is really down. So that still happens, but now we have this discussion about reducing the demand again. When we do this exercise, then everyone wins. The game gets really simple if we accept to lower the energy demand. So that changed a lot the dynamic at the end. So people are getting back home, and I can say to them, yeah, see, you still won, you just accepted to reduce the demand as well. So that's the positive notes that we give at the end. And by questioning both sides, with supply and demand and efficiency during the game, we are facing the 3 pillars of the transition: production, efficiency, and sobriety. By doing this, we give them a vision about what they want, because at the very end of the workshop we are utopia phase. Like, now that you have discussed your demand, you can redesign your energy system without thinking about money, without thinking of building time, and you have a vision about what Switzerland you want to live in 2050. So that's how we end up to let them go with a positive note. And at the start of the project, I wanted people to really learn from the game, getting back home with some numbers. But what I noticed during the test phase was that it was more interesting to teach them how to discuss with each other and find common solutions.
It's more about the debriefing and this debate that they have at the end of the game. Thank you very much, Jean. We have a question, Richard, another one on the left.
And just to complete, just that they know that it's a complex topic.
Yes, we had during this session we had some game back to complexity. I think it's a useful topic to address at the moment for education, and we face that. We have some presentation about games that address this complexity. So please.
So I think it's a great initiative and it's a very important subject. My question is, by how much do you need to lower the demands in order to win?
You can win without lowering the demand, but that will require a new nuclear power plant and 5,000 wind turbines. So, and still it's based on physically sounded data from the energy federal office. It's physically feasible, but politically not acceptable. And at the end, with our demand lowering interface, you can go all the way to 25% of demand reduction, but that will start to be, people, it's not about cooking with the, it's not about the communication we had last winter, it's about like lowering the mobility demand by 2, not taking planes anymore, those kind of stuff that we are talking about. So yeah, it's challenging game, and we are currently in a challenging situation.
Thank you, Jérôme. I hope that your game will help to save our world. So thank you.
It is my immense pleasure, and not just me, to introduce you Dominique Bollinger.
Bollinger for the French, Bollinger for the French one, Bollinger for the Swiss one, and Bollinger for the English one.
Algo Japanese. Okay, great. And please.
Okay, so thank you. Hi, huge crowd. Okay, I'm presenting here a project of a mobile game, an app, as said, and I'm not a developer, and I'm more a customer presenting what I asked to a student who did his internship and then his diploma work for me. So please don't ask too many technical questions I cannot answer, but anyway. So Paul Gillet that you see here could not be here today, so he apologized. Is the real one who did the work. So what was the idea and basic premises of doing a game for environmental issues? So the idea is like, okay, we're in a critical state of our planet. It's been like more than 30 years I'm trying to explain this to people. Not big success on this. But then when you explain this to people, they say, okay, I don't know what to do. They are lost. And so it leads usually to anxiety or immobilism or denial sometimes, and so nothing changes. And so the idea to me was to help people identify the things or the actions they could do that makes sense. But not only as individuals, but also as citizens or as part of companies or maybe heads of companies, whatever. And the idea is that since it's serious and it's anxiety-provoking issues, to make it fun and not just like making them feel guilty and then, oh, I have to change because else I'll be guilty of the doom of the world. So also show the positive effects of these actions, of what these actions could have. So that was really the basic idea I had. And so I asked him, I made I don't know how you say cahier des charges in English? Like a task list. Yeah, specifications for an internship work. And we had Paul Gillet that came, and he did this as this is a, let's say, working prototype, but not functional, but that was the aim of the project, called EcoGest, or you can call EcoGesture, an app. It's saying, okay, I have like challenges, and I can see what I can do. I can have small actions with big impact, maybe as an individual, but as a community, and some rewards at stake also. My benefits, what should they be? So it's not reward that the game gives, but the rewards that I gain by doing things. And this is, we work with a design thinking approach to make the concept, and we guide consumers aged 18-30 in Switzerland to adopt eco-responsible behaviors in a fun way. So the work done was, as I said, an internship with the first prototype that you see, functional prototype, the architecture of it, and it was on PC to see if it worked, and then test it also with some users, or players. And then in summer 2020, a diploma work, a second prototype that worked, and I still have the icon on my old Samsung A3 phone, but the little problem is that now the code is a bit obsolete due to the Android updates. Anyway, that's a diploma work, but we'll see what we can do. It was playable. So the architecture was pretty simple, and I will not make a theoretical speech about this, but like an API, APK server, and the use case that you see here, and I really like the work in the use case to make them as realistic as possible with people that may not be convinced that we should do something, but maybe they are thrilled to game with each other. So let's play, and since I cannot play on this one, I will play here as if. So launching the application. I like the little icon you made, find it cute. So of course the login info. So it's working. I mean, it was working. So the code is existing, etc. It works. Or you can subscribe, of course. And then you had the main menu. On the main menu, you had the list of the challenges. You had access to a personal score. So how good am I doing? You had a ranking to make a little bit competitive. And you had also community results, to me, which was really important to see how much all these individuals put together make an effect. Of course, account setup and general information about this. Let's go into this then. So you could choose on different categories of challenges, which were technological, educational, consumptions, etc., etc., and choose the challenges. And for example, sorting or filtering the challenges in between all of them, or the one I did not do that I can still subscribe for, or the one that are ongoing, or the one that are terminated. Of course, I will have the points when it's terminated. Let's select a challenge. For example, here in water sparing issues, and you know this one. If you don't have it at home, buy it. It's not a big effort. And this is an example that shows what it is, a little picture, a little explanation, and you see, I have a, yeah, great, technology will save us. And you have here the scores. So of course it's just fake values, whatever. But you see that I do not have one score, but I have 4 different ones. One for the climate change, one for the ecosystem impact, one for the resources, and one for the water take or use. And this is really like what we see in life cycle analysis and what we use as indicators of environmental impact. And you cannot put this in one single score. And you hear all the time climate change, CO2, CO2, CO2. That's just 15% of what we are heading to in environmental issues. So that was a choice to see 4 different scores and see like a chart of it, let's say. So let's start it. You can start it and say, okay, I started. And when I finished it, I can just say it's finished and it gives me the scores. And of course, I can then return to the back menu and look at my scores. And you see that the scores, it's not just one score, but it will be with the different indicators and explaining what it is and what impact it does. Always based on life cycle analysis, of course. Then I can see my ranking. Oops, sorry, I was a little bit too quick. Yeah, the ranking in between the different players. And so I can see that maybe Stefan is doing better than me, and I'm just like, what? I am the teacher in environmental engineering. How can you do better than me? So let's do some challenges. Okay, so that's to make it a little bit fun like this. And then the community with the results, and the results with a little bit more details on the different, let's say, the different indicators. And let me check, it's too small. Okay, and you have different values that can help you put yourself into comparison with it. So the total contribution of the community, and the community is everyone. Everybody that plays the game. So that could be nice to spread. And my contribution compared to the others or the community. Of course, well, sorry, the account settings, pretty basic, and general information, which is in this case a flyer or whatever of saying, okay, why are we using this, etc., etc. So, in conclusion then, we have, or we had, even though it exists, some minor code review needed, an existing and tested prototype. We tested it with some players to see if it works, if they found it good. Of course, they said, oh, that would be better to have more challenges. Okay, that's a demo. We had like 10 challenges. But we can also have individuals challenges, but also citizen ones, or like company-wide ones. For example, we can also imagine that we have a shared account of a company where everybody in the company can say, oh, I did this and that and that. And so it showed interesting, fun and helpful elements. The potential and usefulness of the game for both people as individuals that change themselves and, let's say, the planet as a common change of the behaviors. And it really helped people who said, I don't know what to do. I said, okay, I can do this, it's easy, let's do it. I gain some points, and that's not a big change. And the community also to see, oh, maybe there are bigger challenges that do not involve myself as an individual, but maybe we have to do it together. And that gave ideas of ways to follow, a path to follow. And it's based on sustainability expertise because it's on real values behind of environmental impacts. So perspectives and needs. So I'm just here because of asking who's interested for reviewing the code for the current Android version, or maybe remove the glitch in the code that worked with the 4 years ago version and not anymore here. So, okay, takes some time, but it's completely documented and the code is available. Maybe developing and releasing a public version. I don't want to make money about this because that's not my aim, but if this app exists and works and is fun, then it's cool, and I'm happy. for this, consolidating the business model of saying, okay, how can we finance this? How is there something that we can gain as a business model? And then helping find people interested in supporting and managing this app development or supporting as financing, etc. So these are all the questions, and thank you for attention and maybe your investment.
Thank you so much, Dominique. So maybe there's a couple of questions. Yeah, we do have 1 minute. No questions? No questions? Yes. Great.
Merci beaucoup pour cette présentation. Just wondered, I can't review your code because I'm not coding. However, I could maybe discuss with you of options of making it non-digital. I don't know. Have you considered making it easier for a card game or something?
Yeah.
Of course, with the ranking thing, it's a bit more difficult. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whether you consider other low technology.
Yeah. So that's a very good question. But in fact, Paul G was a student in informatics, and coding. So the aim of his work, of course, was to work, but also work on mobile apps. I choose this, and I'm pretty happy with it. With the, let's say, contradictional aspects of talking about the environment using mobile phones. But as my Caribbean friend said, we have to laugh with the wolves. And it's just to say, okay, this exists within people, especially young ones, and so let's try to use this media to make them change and make it fun. But of course, the card play or the, let's say, table play could really be done, since, as you've seen, maybe I can show you this back again, the challenges, they look like cards. And you can just release the cards. But then the network and community results will be maybe more difficult to have, but you can imagine, for example, in the university, or I don't know, you're in Geneva, I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. But in an institution or a company, we can say, okay, let's all play with the card games and record the scores, and then see the score of the overall entity, institutions, or company. Of course, that's completely feasible, since we have the challenges and kind of the rules, let's say.
Thank you so much, Dominique. And it is also my great pleasure to invite Dominique also, but Dominique Jacquard this time, for our second session.